All right, we will call to order the August 18th meeting of the Economic Development Authority of the City of Lynchburg. Welcome and thanks for being here today. We'll start with roll call. Let's see, Patricia Mosby, Georgianne Sneed,
Here.
Kim Sorensen, John Stone, here, Richard Tugman,
Here.
Sackett Wood.
Here.
Thank you. Approval of minutes for the July 21 meeting. You've had a chance to review those minutes. Any discussion or comments? We'll accept a motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor of approving the minutes as presented, please say aye.
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 All opposed, like sign. All right, minutes are approved. Next up, committee assignments. Got that list somewhere. All right, so these are 22-23 committee assignments. Incentive Committee, Georgianne and Kim Sorensen. Property Committee, Sackett. I will be with you until our new member comes around. And Finance Committee will be Pat Mosby and Richard Tugman. Any questions on that? Thank you all for serving on your committee.
And just to remind you that the committee meetings, we try to schedule them immediately after this meeting, and they revolve alphabetically unless we have something that's pressing. The committee members just vet what goes on. The full authority has to vote in order for something to, be approved. But and if we don't have anything, sometimes we just meet. I mean, I like to keep it on track, so I'm not messing your schedules. I'm not having your schedules disrupted by not having a meeting. But if we don't have anything, we may just go over a policy that's in there, answer any questions that you all have. And depending on, like today, Capron is going to come in. They usually do an annual overview of your bond portfolio. And those meetings are open for the whole authority to stay, if they want to for, that presentation. So it's, it's usually Finance, Incentive, and Property Committee, and it just rolls. And usually on your annual meeting, when you have the retreat, we don't have a committee meeting after that.
The committees are advisory only. The authority can only take action when it meets in full session. We use the committees, have used them to sort of vet projects and things beforehand, but they don't, the authority actually must take action in open session.
All right, next on the agenda will be our staff report. Margette and Anna.
Thank you. So as we said, we're currently hiring for 3 positions, which means everybody here is doing probably now 6 jobs instead of the normal 2 that each one has. We're very encouraged on a couple of these in terms of candidates. Didn't get a lot of candidates, but have a couple of those that we're very encouraged about. Clayton, as we told you last time, is going to move over to being our chief of staff almost, to keep all the different things we have going on in the office running, and to provide some analysis on some of the things which we sorely need. So the Industrial Revitalization Fund application that you all approved for Vector Space is to be needs to be loaded and up to the Department of Housing and Community Development on Friday. And Anna, and she can speak to it, but has just put that application in your Dropbox. It went back and forth to DHCD for them to give us some feedback on it, and it'll get loaded in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's still a draft, until we hit send. But the project narrative is in your meeting folder if you want to take a look at the project and all of the specifications for it. It's looking really good, and we got great feedback from DHCD. Not a lot of feedback, which is good. what they needed. So we're hoping to load it into their system today and submit it a day early. So
Great.
Yeah, they're just, all of these things, anytime you all want additional, information on something, we'll try to put it in your Dropbox under it's, all the committees are available to everybody here. Your handbook kind of is supposed to give an overview of the areas where you might look for something, but we want you to feel comfortable with the things that you're approving or to know about them, because you all's feedback back to us and out in the community is what's gonna help us to be more effective and seize opportunities. We continue to work on the venue development of the Riverfront Park. That's a very, very exciting opportunity for us to finish out that park with bathrooms and I don't know if we're calling it an amphitheater. What do we
we don't know yet.
Okay.
It's a venue.
The venue. But we did host last week, we had an extravaganza because we had the Secretary of Education, the Secretary of Agriculture, and the Secretary of Commerce and Trade in Lynchburg. So Anna took the Secretary of Agriculture, I took the Secretary of Commerce and Trade, and the Secretary of Education was with Crystal. They were on their own. So it was great. The Secretary of Commerce and Trade, I gave him a tour of what had gone on downtown. We gave him an overview, and then we had a workforce development meeting as well as a transportation meeting to brief them on the region. And the Secretary of Agriculture was hosted at Seven Hills Foods. So, oh boy.
And that was
amazing.
it was about 25 people. It was also the commissioner of the Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services and VDAC staff, representatives from the Tobacco Commission who potentially can help some of the farmer support in the tobacco region, the Virginia Cattlemen's Association, and the people that do grading and USDA and all of that. So it was a really nice visit. They did a tour of the facility and a presentation from Seven Hills and just talked about some of the challenges of growing that business in the supply chain, especially. So it was good.
And Winter put an intern position. It's just a temporary or contract position in our budget for Campus LYH. So he's trying to transform the town and gown meetings and meeting with all the anchor institutions, the colleges and universities to have, a student or graduate student come in and do a white paper on what that could look like. So we've posted, we've given all the universities the opportunity to have their students submit for that. So that's out there. Anna has done an unbelievable job on top of everything else of coordinating. The Virginia Economic Developers Association will be coming to Lynchburg for their fall
Fall conference.
Conference, and it'll be at the Virginian Hotel. And so we'll put it out there when all the things are going on. It really
Yeah, I would say if anyone would like to attend some or part of that, we have
Yes.
posted a draft schedule, and I'll send that around. I'll email that to everybody. Just let me know. I mean, we can, if it's essentially a day and a half, all day Thursday and half a day Friday. So we'll, if you're interested in attending any of that, I'm particularly excited about. We'll do a session with Rex Jevidan, a conversation between Rex and Leland Melvin on BWXT and the future of kind of nuclear technology. So that'll be especially good. So I can send that information around to everybody.
So we'll show off the city. We have hosted several prospective developers. Winter obviously has a lot of experience from a development standpoint, and he's brought a lot of people here to look at things, in the city. And, we have been tour guides for all that, and we're incredibly appreciative. Co-Starters is our entrepreneurial curriculum. that we have had for the past 6 years?
Since 2015, yeah.
7. It's pretty unbelievable. It's a curriculum, as we've told you before, but came from Chattanooga, and it is not a typical curriculum. It is a peer-to-peer type of curriculum there, and I don't know how many graduates.
We've had about 120 graduates over that time period. I think we've run 7 cohorts. The last few were virtual. We took a break kind of last year to reassess and really not do another virtual cohort. They tended to not be quite as productive. But we just spent actually the last day and a half re-certifying and training 8 facilitators for the program. Folks that have been trained, mostly have been trained before, but it's been a long time, and they've updated the curriculum a good bit since then, and a couple new facilitators as well. So we've developed a more formal partnership for this program with the Small Business Development Center to administer the program. We are funding it. They are administering the day-to-day, which can be a little bit of a workload, weekly emails and scheduling people and taking payments and all of that stuff. So I think it's going to be a good fit for us to be able to promote the program and have this path for people to really explore. It's a really great program for exploring ideas. Early stage, even just sort of thinking I may want to start a business, or I think I have a really good idea. It provides a framework to really dig into that. So in a community setting, in a cohort of usually 10 to 15 other people doing the same thing with you. So we will start our next cohort on, I think, September 12th, and it'll run for 10 weeks.
Yeah, it's a really wonderful program because all of the folks that get trained are usually entrepreneurs themselves, and so they lend all of that to it's a great place for people to make connections, because entrepreneurs are something that they have to grow themselves. You can't. They're pretty independent, and it works best when you're kind of hands off. This program's got a very low threshold to you're really signing up to hold yourself accountable from a monetary standpoint. So we're just trying to cover minimally, expenses, but it's been a really good. We've got some great little businesses, pardon me, that started from that.
Do we host that somewhere?
Vector Space.
It'll be hosted at Vector Space. Elise is actually a nationally trained Co-Starters facilitator, so she facilitates cohorts all over the country and trained us, which is great to have a trainer in the city. So we'll host it there, but we have moved it around the city in different locations, and we'll continue to do that with future cohorts. We do have a couple just rock star businesses that a lot of folks come out of this and are like, I don't want to start a business. Great, don't. It really does help you assess that, whether you have the time and the money and the, to do that. But we have, some of our graduates have been Golf Park Coffee, Mrs. Joy's, Simply Vanilla, Cheesecakes, which is in the mall now, and they have 2 locations actually. I think of a couple others, but there's been over the years there've been some folks who have gone on to do other things, and who are still with us, which is fantastic, and continue
That guy
to
does
grow.
lumber and woodworking,
Yep.
the Craft Crucible. I
Craft
think is what
Crucible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Good Karma Tea Company was one of our grads.
The grooming, the dog.
Oh yeah, Cloud9, K9 Cloud9.
Yeah.
They do. Yep.
Yeah.
So back in the beginning, we had some sort of grant, and we were able to do like that Shark Tank thing where we
Yes.
were able to award. How did that come about, and could that ever be done again?
Yeah, we did that for the launch that year, and that was funded by a community business launch grant from the state. So we had that funding to essentially launch Co-Starters and do that grant program. We have found that sometimes the carrot is not the pitch competition is great to motivate people, but sometimes it motivates people in the wrong ways, right? To sort of say, you're going to win all this money. And it sort of takes the eye off the ball of doing the work of starting the business. So we will connect them with service providers and provide some support around that. We have folks who offer free services, legal, accounting, web development, marketing support, that kind of thing, that we really, when they're ready for it, will kind of bring those resources to bear, as opposed to the shiny big check. But it's not out of the question of doing something like that again. We usually do we do a pitch competition at the end of the cohort, and we do like a $300 prize, right? It's not the thousands of dollars that we've done in the past, but it still gets people, they get excited about it, and but it's not so much that it takes people are doing it just to win the money.
Right.
So.
Well, I definitely think giving the pitch in front of a room has got value.
Yes,
Being
absolutely.
able to take everything you've learned and articulate what your business is and why it has value, and being able to say that in front of a group is.
Yes.
Yeah,
very important.
and restarting all of that, just like I said about going to the VITA conference, it may be that when the Co-Starters group is getting ready to give their pitch, we tell you all, so, because there's value in them, meeting people that are on the EDA and knowing, what's happening there. I think the other thing with the community business launch is out of the same department in Richmond as the Industrial Revitalization Fund is, and their I'll say guidelines, their edicts for that money were that these people not only had to come out of Co-Starters, but they had to have a storefront within like a record
6 months.
6 month period of time, and that's just
It was limiting for a lot of the businesses.
so
who
I
didn't need that.
mean, we know what they need and where they are and all of those types of things. So that sometimes that can be just way too much pressure on everybody concerned to do that. I know that Downtown Lynchburg Association is looking into trying to apply, for that grant, and as they try to fill storefronts. But it's a really daunting thing on the staff to know that you've got an entrepreneur there that is wants to do everything right, but you've got time constraints on there to get people up and in in spaces and working with landlords and doing all that. So I know for them that is a concern from them as they move forward. You certainly want to give you're always excited to have the entrepreneurs get money to help them do what they need to do. I don't know if any of you all have seen our kiosk. When I'm out running or walking, every time I see it, I was out there yesterday with my little tissue, making sure the
Thank
glass
you
on
for
it
your
was clean.
service.
But it makes my heart sore every time I see one, because first of all, structurally, they're really beautiful. And then just to think that I can be down on the trail and I've got this thing up there telling me what are the top 10 things to do in Lynchburg. The Lynchburg Beer and Wine Festival is happening now. Here's a QR code for you to scan to figure out all the outdoor things to do. And these kiosks are located at University of Lynchburg, Randolph College, Centra Health. Liberty lets us put it on their, they have a visitor center that's unparalleled, so we just give them content that they have to approve to put on there. Old City Cemetery.
Parcels Island Amtrak Station.
And the Amtrak station. So all those things are out there in backroom program, Clayton and Emmeline, to have that stuff out there. And I was with
Daunting, the back end.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
And I was with the new president of Sue Ott from Randolph and Amy Carrier last night, and Allison Morrison-Shetler, and they were all just talking about, when people come on the campus, parents, all of the stuff, to just be standing there going, oh my God, and we've tried, like hand out the flyer for me or stuff it in the whatever
It's a big
it is.
step
But
forward.
having those kiosks up there, just incredible, and just wonderful to be on the trail, actively participating, in recreation, and be able to see that up there. So I'm really proud of the team for hanging in there. Emmeline did an unbelievable job. Commonwealth Main Games, we hosted that. Andrew, on top of everything, has already run the numbers. We have 3 more events for that, but for, they have, the increase in the revenue coming back to the city was pretty.
Yeah, we don't have numbers quite yet on it, but.
But the numbers he has without the 3
are-
events being there has exceeded what we. paid
Certainly
for
an increase
sponsorship.
over the last 2 years,
Yes.
over the last 2 years, and I
Right.
think an increase over 19.
Yes.
As well, which is
Yes.
what we're seeing kind of across the board with tourism revenues are at or above pre-pandemic
And you
levels.
saw what Steven said, our tourism numbers were like 131% of pre-pandemic. And all of that is owed to this team and the new branding and all of the things that had not been done, right? I mean, we just have to let our people know what's going on so that they can spread the word and then let people from the outside know. And it's amazing what that alone can do. Also, I don't know if we've said to you all, but September the 29th is when we're planning to do our annual report, reception or festivities at the Point of Honor. So mark your calendars for that. And we are working with Liberty right now, very exciting, for multiple sporting events, which is, we did a sports tourism plan for just that reason, is to try to walk alongside them with the opportunities they have for those state-of-the-art facilities over there. We do not have what's called favored nation status, which means I can't go to a trade show and book a facility at Liberty without their permission. So they have to want it and have to have room for it. So, in a lot of cases, if it's a municipally owned facility, you're out there marketing the facility because you have the ability to book whatever dates you want to. We do not with any of the colleges, and sometimes we even struggle with our own Parks and Rec. But this will have them on board, so they're giving us dates and times that they want to host some of these things. So it is, Andrew will be over there at 10:30 this morning, working on a national event to come to Lynchburg. So Anna's highlighted, and you all can, when you go in the Dropbox, can click on it. This is the press that has been released on things going on, the kiosk, the Brownfield grant from the EPA, and then the Commonwealth game. So
One more thing, just to add real quick, that's not on here, and I apologize. You should have gotten an email earlier this week. I'll make sure you all have it from our through HubSpot, our email system. So it may have gone to spam, but check. Is that Stephen is actually going to give a version of the presentation that we did at the retreat on Thursday, September 1st at lunchtime at 12. We're going to do sort of a webinar. So we have invited stakeholders across the board to opt in to attend that virtually via Zoom, and it'll just be kind of a lunchtime presentation and conversation with that just really great content that we shared and had that discussion in July with you all.
Weren't here, and so we're going to record it.
Yeah.
And so then we can push it out, because I think it's definitely content worth hearing, and the stakeholders would be all of the people that were on board when we did the brand campaign, when we've done the strategic plan. So it's CEOs, it's nonprofit executive directors, it's the focus groups that we talked about. So all those folks will be invited, but one way or another we'll record it, the discussion, and then put it out there for everybody. As a matter of fact, we may send a link to that when we release our annual report. And
When is that?
Thursday, September 1st at noon.
September.
Yeah, Stephen.
Right,
And I'll, based on just this report, I'll send everybody an email with the link to Vita and Stephen, just those dates and reminders.
And that's all I have.
Great, thank you. Does anybody have any questions or comments on staff report? Thank you all. A lot of good work. Let's see. Next up, we do have an item for closed session.
And
I think
Yes.
Ted usually reads some long legal stuff for us.
It's been a while.
Just make a motion pursuant to 2.23711 of the Code of Virginia to have a discussion or consideration of the acquisition of real property for a public purpose or of the disposition of publicly held real property where discussion in an open meeting could adversely affect the bargaining position and negotiating strategy of the authority.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
I guess we take a vote on that? It's a
Yes,
motion,
need
right?
to go into closed session. Somebody need, George Ann
I
made a motion, seconded.
Second.
So just, you need to call the roll.
Very good. So all in favor of the motion for closed session, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Closed session it is.